Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
6, getting down with Fresh Out, and you tuned in to another Prison Talk. It's been a long time coming, but it has happened. Sean P. Diddy Combs was arrested Monday and indicted in New York. So they said Sean Diddy Combs was arrested in Manhattan amid ongoing lawsuits alleging abuse and months after a pair of federal raids targeted him as a subject of a sex trafficking investigation. This is from USA Today. So you remember a while back they raided his home in Beverly Hills, Florida. I believe that even a New York home got raided. But when Homeland Security got involved in that, which they get involved whenever a case has anything to do with human trafficking and sex trafficking. And at the time, you didn't see any arrest. And then if you guys also flash back, you remember they said the Virgin Islands, they flew over there in a plane. They don't know what was on the plane, if something was disposed of, or what the nature of that trip was. But he was in Miami, the plane was in one place, and it was just really a questionable transaction with that. But he's been walking around and still enjoying himself in public and doing what have you. But believe that if you have that much time and you didn't get arrested, that there was some type of deal being worked out behind closed doors. When you're able to kind of turn yourself in on your own accord, there's been negotiations. You know, the rumor was that in all his houses he had cameras and recording devices everywhere. So we don't know what was on those tapes exactly, but they know that the freak off parties had everybody in the videos getting down, doing the dirty, everybody from celebrities, athletes, politicians, musicians, and they say that, you know, they were turning out a lot of the dudes in hip hop. You got a lot of these you know, rappers and gangster rappers and singers that were consensual and non-consensual, being drugged, some of them. I mean, you could drink some, pass out. Who knows? Maybe your cheeks got blown out while you were sleeping. You got that on videotape. Now you got to do a song over here, you got to do a song over there, or you got to work with this person. Who knows, you know, exactly what was going on. But when you're involving, you know, ketamine, GHB, ecstasy, coke, Tucci, all these different things, you're partying, you have the alcohol, it's a recipe for you can get violated. So yeah, it's gonna be a fireworks of a indictment once it's unsealed, the criminal case, and people probably right now are very nervous if they had any dealings at these freak-off parties, because he's had plenty of time to negotiate, plenty of times to work out a deal. And you know, when you talk about if they're charging him with RICO, the deal on RICO's, you know, 20 years. CCE, continual criminal enterprise, 20-something years. That's the deals. Those are the deals. I mean, unless you for RICO, you give an extraordinary amount of cooperation, then they can go outside the guidelines. But you got to figure in the feds, there's guidelines, and these guidelines are pretty strict, and it's up to the judge. But usually the judge goes with the prosecutor's recommendation. So there's gonna be a lot of twists in this one right here, and it doesn't just end with Puffy or start with Puffy. I mean, everybody's pointing the finger at him, and we've seen the videos of him with Cassidy in a hotel in the lobby, dragging her. I mean, he has a lot stacked against him, and you can't say that anybody made him do what he did, but he learned the game from somebody, and has to take responsibility for his actions now. So, it says that the U.S. District Court, Southern District of New York, is taken into custody. We know he's a music icon, and there's going to be a lot of ripples in the industry as a result of this. This all started off with the civil suit with his assistant filing, and there's video, there's pictures. A lot of people said, "Oh man, I wasn't there, I wasn't doing nothing." Well, when you have video evidence, how do you get around that? Picture evidence, how do you get around that? So a lot of people are gonna try to cut deals. Nobody wants to spend time in prison. Nobody wants to be accountable for their actions at the end of the day. Human trafficking, sex trafficking, it could be as easy as, calling a girl on, or messaging, some female, young girl on IG, flying her out across state lines. Now that's sex trafficking. You flew her from California to New York, or from Atlanta to Miami. And then, like I said, the big one is, a lot of the drug use, and then they said there was, multiple times when guns were being used in certain situations, carried or concealed, whatever, illegally. But the drugs and the game about Hollywood, a lot of you guys who don't know, and some who do know, is that when you go to these parties, and after a certain time, they tell you to leave if you don't want to be involved in what's gonna be coming next. And sometimes you want to leave, but maybe you pass out. I know of people who have went to these parties and saw a person opening the drinks in front of them and pouring them, and they still got drugged. So that's a big thing. And then the whole blackmail game, getting you to do things or having you in compromising positions, getting you to sign deals. You got to think like, man, if you have blackmail video of somebody doing something, and they're a public figure, they're a brand for a face of a particular brand, and this person is doing maybe a homosexual activity on camera, and they're supposed to be married and have kids, dude, that could destroy their career. So all this stuff, I mean, who knows how many people are on video doing things that they don't want nobody to know about. And I'm not here to judge them, but they were doing these things and they got caught. Nobody wants to get caught. There's a whole underground network of things that people do behind closed doors that isn't on their social media with their families, things that they don't want their wives or their kids to know about that they're doing, or their friends, the freak-offs, the wild cheek-busting parties where everything goes. And, there's been rumors, but now those rumors have been validated. And there's been a lot of lawsuits filed since his personal assistant filed his lawsuit, which kicked all this off. And there's been a lot of other lawsuits. A lot have been settled out of court, some not settled out of court. And there was this one that was just awarded on default for $100 million to a gentleman who said he was raped, associated with, P. Diddy. So it's going to be a lot of whispers, and a lot of people are going to distance themselves, going to go ahead and give their proper statements early so that they can clear themselves. And gonna have to see how this whole thing's unfold. It's I guess gonna be unsealed today. It's gonna be public, the indictment. You'll be able to see the criminal indictment. Like I said, anytime you have this much time between the home raise and the actual taking into custody, his attorneys worked him a pretty good deal, and they got a lot of information of very powerful people, I would imagine, linked to this whole situation. Because even you got to think, if somebody was on the boat partying and this person was a dignitary, think about how that can make a deal for a government, an energy deal, a manufacturing deal, a raw material deal. Not just getting a guy who plays basketball who has a Nike contract, but just think about the people who are running governments who maybe went to a freak off and were on video and were compromised. God, that's big, man. That's big. Beyond the guy throwing a football, dribbling a basketball, hitting a baseball, some of these entertainers, there's other people, and everybody was a friend of Puffy's. Puffy was international. The dude was in Paris. He had, international clothing company. That guy was a fashion mogul. He was moving and shaking. This guy was in the biggest circles in the world. P. Diddy, a world, not just, an icon in America. He's a world icon known around the world. So we're going to see what happens with this. I'm not going to jump out there and say all that I think's going to happen, because I really don't know. I mean, the video, everything they have against him, it speaks for itself. But as far as the deals he's cut, what he has on tape, obviously he's negotiations are stronger than Epstein's. Epstein didn't have this much time to turn himself in and negotiate and to work out a deal. Sean, he's had a good little while to kind of get the things in order and move assets around and what have you. So stay tuned and let's see how the thing unfolds. Big Herc 916, fresh out. 16 with Fresh Out Ministries. We're doing a new program where we're doing a takeover of a mom pop cafe or restaurant, and we're doing a pay it forward. So we're going to offer free meals at this particular restaurant or cafe, mom pop, for a certain amount of time, and we are asking that you make a donation to pay it forward so that we can continue doing this program for other mom pop restaurants and cafes, because we know that it's hard times out here. You have a lot of people that talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And so we're actually walking the walk. We've been doing it for over 11 years on social media. We've been getting shadow banned. We've been getting demonetized. So we want to give back, and this is our way of giving back to helping everybody through these trying times with this economy. A lot of churches, they got $100 billion, and you don't see them out here helping the people who are in times of need, but they're still taking in the form of donations. But how's it helping the community? We want to build a community sense where we help each other. We can all overcome. You can't sit around waiting for somebody to save you. You got to save yourself. And this is the way you do it. So by us being able to do these takeovers with Fresh Out Ministries, with the mom pop restaurants and cafes, We want to be able to film, talk to you guys, get your feedback on what's going on right now in society. Hopefully you guys find it in your heart to donate. This donation, which is a pay it forward, will allow us to do other mom pops around the country eventually. But right now we're going to be in Southern California and Los Angeles, Orange County. So hey, reach out to your local businesses there. And if you are out of town in another area and you would like us to come there, if you provide the necessary means, we will come there also and do the same pay it forward. But right now, hey, if you're in locally in Los Angeles, Orange County, hit us up, freshoutseries@gmail.com. You can also make a donation on our link tree on our Instagram at Fresh Out Series.